So often companies forget that their first customer actually is their employee. And if the culture isn't aligned or there's not a good fit and the people haven't actually bought into the vision and the mission, which often steering committees and business corporates, they don't always get the buy-in from their people. And your customers feel it. And so many companies don't actually get that right. If they look at their people, they forget about their people. They always say that it's customer first, in the boardroom, but it's actually not. Obviously, ROI is extremely important, and that's why we're in businesses. But without customers, you don't have a business. So that's what I help them focus on.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ways to Wealth. Today I'm joined by Debbie. Debbie, why don't you give us the TLDR on who you are and kind of what you're up to?
Great, thanks Charlie. So Debbie from Footprint Collective.
Yep.
And I left the corporate world end of last year, and I decided to share my knowledge with small, medium enterprises and corporates in New Zealand.
Okay. Cool.
And so that's part of my one business. And I've recently launched another business, Footprint Distribution, that I'm busy doing market analysis, and I'm the sole distributor for New Zealand and Pacific Islands. So it's quite left field, completely different to my other business. One is services, one's product related.
Okay, cool.
Exciting.
So are you trying to basically give a little bit more of like the corporate side and experience to those SME businesses?
Correct.
And is it directly typically with the business owners, or do they have teams that you work with? Like so far, what's your kind of?
It's both.
It's a bit of both.
So after 25 years in corporate and working for global companies internationally, I decided to hone in on all that knowledge and work with small, medium enterprises, because New Zealand's about, 96-97% small, medium enterprises.
Wow.
And obviously they've got, a bunch of corporates as well. So if I look at small, medium enterprises, normally the founders or the marketing director, which invariably is the founder.
Yeah.
And it's really just trying to help them grow and look at their customer base. How do they retain customers? How do they reactivate customers? If they're losing customers to their competitors, as well as all the marketing and brand and everything that they need. Also, like change management, anything that a small business would need in order to grow.
Right. Okay. Is it typically B2B, more B2B stuff? Or
it is more B2B.
Because there is a lot of B2B. There's a lot you can learn in the B2B space. It's a completely different game.
Absolutely. And I also work from the inside out. So I work with the company's people, their staff, because so often companies forget that their first customer actually is their employee.
Right.
And if if the culture isn't aligned or there's not a good fit and the people haven't actually bought into the vision and the mission, which often steering committees and business corporates, they don't always get the buy-in from their people.
No.
And your customers feel it. And so many companies don't actually get that right. If they look at their people, they forget about their people. They always say that it's customer first, in the boardroom, but it's actually not. Obviously, ROI is extremely important, and that's why we're in businesses. But without customers, you don't have a business. So that's what I help them focus on.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And you've kind of decided to also start distributing tiles.
I have.
And they're quite specific, and you're the only distributor, and you're and it's very different. Well, are you selling to businesses with that, or are you selling to consumers with that?
Right now, I was looking at a hybrid model, but right now I'll be looking at distributors and bringing on sub-distributors.
Okay.
So I was actually approached by Terraco and Scandinavia. So it's a Scandinavian outdoor tile. I was approached by them because I am based in New Zealand and I've been here for 8 years, just to do a market analysis and actually put them in touch with the right people that would invariably be distributors.
So were they a client of your service?
No, not at all. Not at all. I just knew someone from way back when, someone actually that was based in France.
Right.
And from a marketing perspective. And I thought, no, I can do this. So I quickly went out, did some research, got shipping codes, etc., and now I'm busy looking at distributors, and I've had an overwhelming response.
Okay.
And Charlie, I literally, the Auckland home show, I walk around with my backpack, with my sample tiles, and I've spoken to everyone. And I haven't had any pushback. So I'll be going to the South Island soon with the tiles. And it's really interesting because there actually is a bit of a crossover between the two businesses, because so many of them, again, need assistance with their people, with how to grow their business and how to accelerate their growth, looking at business development. So
the people that you're selling to kind of have a very similar, in cases, persona to your services business, because they're business owners and they're trying to obviously improve their businesses and grow.
Correct. So right now I'm just looking for distributors and sub-distributors, and then just to get that out in the market, and that's New Zealand and Pacific Islands.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Was there any reason, because I guess it sounds like, have there been other entrepreneurial endeavours along the way, or you said you were kind of quite focused on corporate, so what was the kind of lead up to kind of, I guess, now deciding to do two at the same time, although they're different?
I think September 2020, shocking time to launch your own business. That's when I actually launched Footprint.
Right.
And then I ended up being seconded into Sky TV, actually, to do some consulting work, and ended up with them full-time, and then moved into another role. And then towards the end of last year, 2024, I thought, I don't know what I'm doing back in corporate. I need to do this for myself. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about what I do. Let me do it for myself and go out there and help people. So that's when I looked at Footprint Collective, and it's actually just the Footprint distributions really just fall into my lap, so to speak. But I thought, let me just try that. And right now, it's been easier to sell a product than it is a service, because it's tactile and people can actually see it. And if you look at New Zealand in the market, it's, I mean, look at construction, builders, landscaping, a lot of people are spending money in those areas on their homes. So it's a great, great market to be in. If I look at Arrowtown, Airburn Estate, Mount Cardrona Estate, there's so many estates down in the South Island.
With some builds that are happening, and they're going to be nice builds, and then that's where
builds, and it's high end.
That's where the tiles go,
Correct. And there's nothing like it in the market. And it's well priced. So I thought, let me just look at that. So it's almost been, did I wake up one day and think I wanted to manage two businesses? No. It's just really the one's just shifted into the other, morphed into the other.
But and leading up to 2020, I guess, when you started Footprint Collective.
Yes.
Prior to that, it was always in employment and corporate.
Always in the corporate.
Did you ever think you would start a business when you were earlier and working in those roles? Were you like, oh, I'm going to do something one day?
I always wanted to, but I never backed myself. And I wish I had. You always, myself, I thought I wanted to have that steady income and the salary, etc., etc. And most of the corporates I've worked with, we always would receive shares and a lot of other benefits. And working for yourself, as you know, if you don't work, there's no income. But I've been so ready for it, and I've got so much energy, and also very well connected. So networking, self-educating, and New Zealand is like a village. It is small, the world is small, but New Zealand's like a village. So it's been fantastic as to who you know, and there's amazing networks out there.
Okay, cool. So you knew you were going to do something, but you just it's quite hard to jump off the wheel.
It is.
When it's a very great wheel, right? Once you're on that kind of trajectory, I know, especially when you're at companies where there's share plans, those share plans can be really meaningful. And they that kind of person that's also in that role, very motivated to do better, of course, and they fit into one of our personas of those high agency, because I think people that are also in those share schemes and in these compensation schemes as well, their performance does correlate to their comp.
Correct.
Whereas obviously there are lots of roles in the world where that's not the case.
Correct.
So there is already an inherent kind of risk element, or at-risk element to the salary, which is really kind of a good thing for setting you up for getting on that entrepreneurial journey.
Correct. It is. It really is. And I've always said to my teams, wherever I've worked, always treat wherever you work as if it's your own business. So, and try and get into and understand as much about the business as you can. So not just your role, but understand a lot about project management, change management, everything, and marketing, because it's really just, your role's really one cog in a bigger wheel. So, and I think that's where New Zealand's so good as well, because like I said, a lot of the SMEs, you'll find the founder might be the marketer and the salesperson and maybe even the IT person.
Right.
And they've got do so many and juggle so many different roles.
Yeah.
But a lot of them don't have the know-how or the processes or the systems to do, and that's where I come in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Just to guide.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So kind of, I guess, what were some really fun projects that you did leading up to the kind of, were there any projects or any roles that you learnt a lot from?
Yes.
That have are now paying dividends in your new kind of endeavours? Was there any that you think of, any roles that really challenged you? Maybe early days, obviously you've worked in a few different regions. Was there anything, any time specifically you can think back on that were really interesting?
Yes, so I was at Microsoft years ago, but it still, to this day, is the best company I've ever worked for. Why? Because there were only 40 of us initially when we started off in South Africa, and we built it to about 250 business partners.
Yeah.
So I think the learnings from there, it was always global learnings, but local flexibility. So we took global programs, we traveled extensively. About 15,000 of us would converge either on New Orleans or San Francisco every 2 years and whatnot. And just the contacts and the learnings that we actually got through Microsoft was amazing. And then there's a company I worked for in South Africa, about 10,000 employees, and I managed about 18 properties in South Africa and about 13 in South America, so Cartagena, Panama, and so on. And that also was really interesting because it was cross-geographical, with rules and regulations. They were quite stringent because it was a big casino hospitality group, and that was fantastic because one of the properties had about 20 million people come through, and we bought an entire solution because my manager there was ex-Disney. So I don't know if you've ever been to Disney, but it's just the sensors, like a sensory overload. Right. And my role there was the mind and mood manager. Great title.
Yeah,
so I looked at the
cool
five sensors, and what we did is we created a signature scent for all of our hotels. Right. It didn't matter what hotel you walked into, you knew it was part of the group. Right. We would pump out the smell of bread in the morning as people came into the properties. We didn't sell bread, but our restaurants started to see better turnover, and coffee and things like that, and it was just fantastic. We bought in about 900 screens with Samsung, sound a big deal, and we did a huge content strategy around the screens. I bought out Celine Dion, Julia Glassie's 10 tenors, the Edinburgh tattoo that's going to be in New Zealand next year, and when we had the South African Tennis Open, we built the courts, and then we bought them. We pulled them down again, and they built the courts. So it was completely experiential, and how we saw ourselves was bricks and mortar. So we had security and we had buildings, but we just had all of these amazing entertainment events, and we also signed a world first, which was the Springbok Boktaan. So it's Boktaan, it's still going around the world. Right. So I love anything rugby. Yeah. And so we did a huge deal with the South African rugby. Oh, yeah. So that was on a large scale, and I absolutely loved it because that was just taking something into the country that wasn't there before. Right. And it's actually still going successfully after all these years. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and there was a lot of blue sky thinking where management said, let's just go for it and make it work. Right. And I think when you have a kind of, you're at a company where they're trying to push the boundaries on a feeling or experience, there's a little bit more willingness to take risk. Correct. And also, if they're also in the casino game, they're naturally taking more risk as a business anyway. They've got all sorts of stuff that they've got to deal with. Yeah. So maybe them, and the whole, I guess you're trying to emulate Vegas in some, to a certain degree, the kind of some of the, when you've got casino, there's obviously, you look to Vegas and that feel of Vegas with that, and there's obviously, it's all showy, right? It is all showy, yes. But we also had, like a 3,000-seat theatre and a big bird park. Bird park would make a loss of about 4 million rand a year, which is about 400,000 New Zealand dollars a year. But it attracted so many people to the property, and we had food and that sort of thing. So why I mention that as a great learning was because our leadership just put it out there. They backed themselves, and the people came and spent.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a lost leader. People literally, we looked at our revenues for years later, and it's still very, very, very successful.
How was the ownership of the organisation? Was it owned by management? Or
No, listed. Yeah,
it was listed
company,
as well.
Absolutely,
right, listed in South Africa or
Correct.
London?
No,
Okay.
listed in South Africa.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So very large corporate.
Very large corporate. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And then, would you say from the two experiences that you mentioned, Microsoft and the kind of more experiential piece with the property, the Microsoft stuff is very much present and more relevant, would you say, to your current work?
Yes, I would say so. Absolutely. Because if I look at the business development and the type of business partners that we brought on, so I ended up managing the 250 business partners.
Right.
And how we chose our partners was we obviously wanted them to go out and sell our products, so together with integrated into their solutions.
Yeah.
So it was ensuring that they were geared up to be able to sell our products, and that's pretty much what I do, is make sure that a business is geared up. They know who their customers are, they know who their competitors are. Even if they don't have a direct competitor, it's share of the wallet. So it depends on
the mind.
Correct, and the mind, because so many companies I've met with here in New Zealand, they go, no, she'll be all right, mate, it's fine, we don't have any competitors. And I go, you really do. It's all share of the wallet. So you've got to be really, really careful. I mean, even with the Edinburgh Tattoo coming in next year in February, or concerts, someone is going to decide, do I spend my money there, or do I spend my money with the company that I'm going to usually buy a product or service from?
Yeah, for sure. It's like also with like sporting events, right? If you've got a sporting events clash, like a boxing event and a UFC event at the same time, you know for sure that a portion of your customers are having to make that choice of, I'm only going to watch this at this time, therefore I'm probably going to buy the pay-per-view of the one that I'm more interested in, and then maybe stream the other one illegally later.
Correct.
That's the reality of the situation.
It is the reality.
It's prevalent. Like what we think about what we do of, do we have a competitor? No, we have no one in the market that does what we do in the way we do it and how we're approaching the problem. However, like, people are still thinking about their wealth and bettering themselves and investing in relation to other products that are in the market, right? So we don't have any direct competitors, but like you say, like there's lots of mind share, attention share when it comes to helping people or wealth, finance, anything like entrepreneurial. There's 1,000 different podcasts you can watch. There's all these different books you can buy. There's only so much time.
There is. That's why you've got to be so careful and not careful, but really strategic and clear about breaking through that clutter. Because, why should I as a customer buy from you or sign up with your services rather than someone else? And I think it's also really interesting because we often in our marketing speak as if we're speaking to very knowledgeable people, but actually we're not. We need to change our speak to people that are actually, in fact, of a lower, maybe even to a grade 12 or 11.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's definitely the prevailing wisdom, right, is to make it so a 4-year-old can understand it. I agree with that broadly. I am thinking about what we're doing at the moment around how we're trying to target our target demographic as well. And I think about, typically you think, well, jargon and industry speak is negative. Right? You're like, actually, no. When I want to help someone dollar cost average into a diversified group of ETFs or individual companies, I'm using different language to, am I trying to work out if this customer is right for our product? And can I use words strategically to disincentivize someone that I think might not be correct for our service?
That's such a valid point. That is a valid point.
It's something that we've been thinking about a little bit the last couple of days. I mean, like that's kind of how recent it is in terms of obviously that's everything key. To be accessible, but actually also. And we're talking about it before we get on about our membership fee and how how it's $1,200 a year, and how actually we've had objections and people either not buy or not see the value in it at times because it's too cheap. They go, well, it's not enough.
That is also, which
is extremely confronting as somewhat when you're an organisation that's like, but we've made it this price because of our values and we think like it's an okay price, but like it might deter from the value.
Yes.
So it might be something we have to revisit in the future, and it's something we're talking about at the moment because. Yeah, if you say that if you're giving away $20,000 of value but you're charging $1,200, like people can go, oh, that's not real, you know.
Correct.
So I think there are these interesting nuances that in sales that I haven't spent much time on.
Right.
Definitely not. I guess I'm naturally quite good at selling ideas.
Yes.
But in terms of selling in a structured way where, you know, it works, it can be scaled to other people, etc., etc.
Yeah, the psyche of people with marketing.
Yeah.
It is key. Oh, Charlie, I just want to quickly, interject. Years ago at Microsoft, we used to hold forums. And it used to be really, we used to put a lot of effort into the forums, you know, presenting the latest innovative products coming up, etc. And they were free.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't come.
Right.
So we ended up having to charge them just a minimal fee.
Right.
And people came because they saw value in it, because they paid for it.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the Starbucks model, with their large, their medium, and their small. I mean, I know they've got ground and you know, different sizes. But if you look at the small size, let's just say it's about $4, for example. And then they had the large, which was about $6.50. And then they created the medium one, which was $5.50. And you think, oh, because if you look at the difference between the four and the medium, the small and the large, you think, I'm not going to pay for that large size. But then they introduced the medium model. Yeah. And then people always go for the bigger one, because I think it's 50 cents or $1 more. So maybe that's what you could look at, was having two tiers, and you go.
Well, we have one at the moment, but we're about to release a $250 a year and $100 a year.
Okay.
So we're going down.
The problem with going down is you can never scale back up again.
But that's all self-serve. So that doesn't have any of the private stuff. It's like for people as they scaling
and then
up.
They hopefully they will then up. You can then upsell them. Okay.
So with those two tiers, it's about, okay, well, if you're investing when you get paid.
Yes.
For example, like at the moment, our transaction fee is 0.4%, whereas shares is 1.4% for fractional shares per transaction. Yeah. But with the membership fee, you get free trades. And I believe with subscriptions on Sharesies and stuff, you get free trades, which I think is a really great model because it just creates an incentive for good behaviour. Because you're saying, actually, we're not actually monetizing your transactions.
Correct.
That's the idea.
Yes.
Or we reduce it, we're subsidizing the cost of your transactions through the membership. So we then can be aligned. But yeah, I mean, I think the $1,200, there might be a kind of private plus that might end up at $5,000 a year.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that's the kind of interesting space we're in. But because financial services are free, in New Zealand, they're not free. They cost you. You just don't know because you don't put over your credit card. But that's a whole dynamic psyche that people are like, well, I'm not used to paying for these services.
Right.
So it's been an interesting dynamic.
Yes.
Or not paying for them directly, especially like when you're getting into entry-level stuff. But the problem is when you don't pay directly, you might be paying more.
Correct. It's all those hidden.
Yeah, so it's all this kind of interesting stuff. Yeah. But it's really cool to see and do the podcast and kind of speak to SME owners and business owners and founders, because you get a real sense of some of the prevailing issues, roadblocks, experience that people face that have some real overlap, right? And you can you can see this almost like endless opportunity of problems that you can help solve for business owners.
Yes.
And founders and high agency individuals that are taking that equity risk.
And just the equity risk for yourself. And then if I look at my business and just how few people actually get the foundations right, because, so often companies, small, medium enterprises might start off and then they just accelerate. And then they forget to get those foundations right, or forget to go back and revert to their processes or change their standard operating procedures. And that can just affect, time is money. Yeah. So that's also where I come in, and I can sit and I work with them and have a look at their processes, and systemize things.
Well, I think it's strategy. Yeah. I think there's difference between strategy and operating, right? Like if you want anything in life, you kind of have to work. You have to kind of work out what you want. Yep. And then you have to actually aim at it. Correct. Right? Like, this is what I want to achieve, and this is where I'm going. Now, if you don't get the outcome you wanted, it doesn't, you will have almost guaranteed to be closer to where you wanted to be if just by aiming. And setting yourself an outcome. Yes. And I think that we talk about it a lot. Have you got a strategy? Obviously we have features that are allowing people to build strategies. Yes. But actually it's a bigger question around, do you have a strategy about what you're trying to achieve? And that goes for also the business, for the business owners. Absolutely. Do you want to do a management buyout? Do you want to sell the business? Correct. Because those two things make a massive impact to how you're going to operate the business, because if you're doing a management buyout, you're trying to basically apprentice someone in, and whereas if you're going for an exit, you're working out how to obviously create the highest multiple possible for your business, and you need to know all the drivers that are going to lead to, I can actually sell this business at 7 times earnings, not 2, because I added these 3 things. Yes, and you've got systems and processes, and people can literally just box your business and take it. I think it's just so key also being able to pivot. So if it doesn't work, so your North Star, this is where you want to take your business, but constant. So I always say to a business, have a look at where do you want to be in 5 years, where do you want to be in 3 years, put that there, but constantly review that, and then work on your 90-day goals, and you visit that every single day. What are your 3 things you want to achieve today? And you look at the noise and you look at the other, as Steve Jobs always used to say, if it's noise, you've got it, because every business, we all start off in our day and we think we're going to hit our emails, hit the calls, hit our action list, and it doesn't always work like that. And what's the one thing?
What's that one thing you want to do? But being able to pivot, and because as we know, look at COVID, how it hit everyone, left field, and we all have our pre-COVID and our post-COVID stories. But the thing is, how did a business pivot? If you look at Kodak, they never would have thought that our phones would have taken over from that, or the hotel industry, I bet, would never have thought of Airbnb and, so-and-so, Mr. and Mrs. down the road just opening up a home, for people. Or look at Uber and taxi, and look how those businesses have had to pivot.
Yeah, they still exist.
And they still exist, but
but they're different. The dynamic is different. Some utilise Airbnb now. Yes. Or taxi drivers may have pivoted over to that service, or you've got Uber drivers that now are also doing Uber delivery. Yes, and there's these and that's kind of really the expansion of how obviously markets get disrupted, and then they recover and they heal. Yes. We just have to accept the fact
and embrace it. Absolutely. But being able to pivot the business at any time. So whether it's an agile or waterfall, approach.
Project management.
It's really to project management. It really is so key. But it's also again knowing who your customer is, knowing your why, your business. So what strategy have you got, your vision, your mission, and then changing that and tweaking it.
Yeah, and we have this 12. I kind of borrowed it, I think, from Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary Vaynerchuk, yes.
But there's this framework that we've done. I think we put it on Reddit at the start of every year. There's this free template that is now turned into the net worth tracking and planning tool, the aggregated asset kind of view for all of your income, expenses, assets and liabilities and goals. And that is turned into a feature in our platform, which we always knew we wanted to build. But it started off as a what I call the 12-12-12, which is 12 days, 12 weeks and 12 months. Yes. And at the start of the year, you basically set goals, and 12 years if you want to go that hard, which I have a 12-year.
Good on you.
I do, but and what you do is you go 12 months out, you then work your way back. You're like, okay, well, if I want to achieve this in 12 months, what would I need to have done in 12 weeks to have got there? And then 12 days.
Love it.
And I've used it every single year as a hack to basically make a good year.
Yes.
So what I try and do is I front load as much as I can in the first 12 days and 12 weeks.
Yes.
And then by the 12 weeks is up, which is 90 days-ish, you're basically sorted for the year. You should basically almost be on autopilot to get to the end of the year by that 12-week point.
Yes.
Because you've set the groundwork to get there.
Yes.
And you'd be surprised how often you hit these things that seem hard at the start of the year but end up getting done.
Yes, I love that because it's setting the foundation.
Yeah. And it's accepting that actually after you set out a strategy, your cadence is going, once you're in delivery mode, because you don't want to be basically, you don't want a goal system or a OKR system, which is very common in stuff like Google and Microsoft. You don't, especially as an SME owner, where you don't, or a small team, you don't want to be constantly revisiting goals and it become a bureaucracy. Especially in your own head. So by making it so that you're actually 12-week, because you could continuously do the 12-day goals if you want to. I just say, look, and I do the 12 days over and over again, typically until the 12 weeks is done. So I've got more micro tasks coming to that 12 weeks. But by the time that's over, I'm pretty much good for the year.
I love that. And then again, if anything, like any environmental factors happen.
If anything changes. You re-aim. And you get to re-aim every year anyway. And really your 12-year goals you don't really need to look at. And you can, but I think that it's quite good to actually not look at it for a couple of years and revisit every 3 or so years and see, because obviously you should be prepared to say, actually I thought, or maybe it was I thought that that's what I wanted, or I thought that's what the world wanted me to be in 12 years, and I am 4 years in, and actually that's different. It's totally okay to change.
I mean, look at me now. So 12 years, that's pretty full on. So I do, as I say, 3 years. But if you look at me enough, I had to look at 6 months ago. Wasn't even looking at the towels, but now it's such an exciting product, and it's something that, I mean, I wasn't even aware of it. I hadn't even thought about it, but it's just been such a great segue into potentially the other part of the business.
Yeah, because you're learning new things.
And I'm learning new things.
And like, is the stuff that you're doing with Go High Level, is that focused on
my company?
On your...
Yes, on my existing Footprint Collective.
But it's going to obviously merge over to, you're going to probably utilise that, because you could do so much stuff with it.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Although I was a
2011.
goldsmith. I trained as a goldsmith, and
did you?
Yeah, the guy that taught me.
I've never met someone that trained as a goldsmith.
Well, there's a lot of goldsmiths in South Africa.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And the guy that taught me was from Cape Town.
Really? Oh, Cape Town's just lovely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I took my kids. Went in a hot air balloon, and we saw the Great Migration. So it happens twice a year.
Right.
So they go up north, and millions of animals, as far as the eye can see, sitting in a hot air balloon, and you're looking down. I literally, so my late husband had passed away, 40 years old, went for a 5-kilometre run and had a massive heart attack. So then I was stuck with it. No, love my kids. My 8-year-old and my 10-and-a-half-year-old.
Yeah.
And I just found some guy in Kenya, Enzra, online, and I phoned the Kenyan embassy and I said, is this guy legit? And literally got into his, they call it a taxi, it's, and by day it like the roof lifted off and we just went around Kenya. It was the most insane trip, and everyone was like, oh, are you crazy? A woman and their 2 kids driving around Kenya with someone you don't know. But it was amazing seeing Mount Kilimanjaro, going, and it was beautiful. You've got to do that trip.
That's cool.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, right. That's real Africa.
That is real Africa.
That's cool.
Just beautiful.
Yeah. It's one of those moments that you know that you might not be able to do it again. You might never get an opportunity to do it again. It's like when we were going to Europe for a family trip to the UK, of course, with our daughter, our 3rd daughter for the first time.
Have you got 3 daughters?
3 kids.
Oh, good
1 boy, 2 girls.
Okay.
And we decided on the way back we would do the Great Wall of China.
Wow!
And we left the airport we got a tour there. We were out 9 hours. We went to the Great Wall, hung out there, did some little bits, and then went back. And it was.
Love that.
It cost us $600 as well. And we had a driver and a guide.
That is so
It's
cool.
crazy.
A driver and a guide.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, because also we lived in the UAE for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, interesting.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Not Dubai. I didn't like Dubai.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So many. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of competition actually for New Zealand when it comes to migrants and high net worths coming to different countries to basically create geographical hedges.
Yes.
So you look at the UK, you look at the US, you look at Asia. There's like, okay, maybe I still got business assets, I still got operations in the US, the UK, or whatever, but perhaps I want to protect my assets, protect myself in case of the worst case scenario. And there are these visa programs, Portugal, the UAE, obviously different parts of Southeast Asia, and New Zealand and Australia a little bit, but not so much. We're competing against those other regions.
I know.
And at the moment, we're not winning.
No.
Yeah, we're definitely not winning.
It's just so expensive. I mean, when I landed here with my children 8 years ago, I had to prove we had to pay a couple of $100 each, about $300-400 each, that we could speak English.
Right.
And English is my home language. I'm from the UK. Well, all my family is from the UK, fellows. And in fact, Julian Fellows is my uncle, Downtown Abbey. Right. So that's the last time I spoke to him was 2013. So that's my family, like we're British heritage. And even when I was born in South Africa, it's known as the last British outpost because I'm from the English side.
Right.
The whole KwaZulu-Natal. And we had to prove we could speak English here. And I mean, we can speak Afrikaans, I speak Zulu, Xhosa, some other languages over there. But English is my home language. And it's so expensive just to prove. I was like, I'm speaking English,
Talking to you in English.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's
but the golden visa is a minimum of 5 million. New Zealand, as much as 10 million New Zealand, which is only 5 million USD now, right? Roughly.
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite, but almost.
Yeah.
Soon it'll be there. And Abu Dhabi and Dubai and stuff, it's about $500,000 US.
Yeah, you see.
But you're buying the visa, you're not investing.
Correct.
Right. So actually, the fee to do the paperwork and do all that work might set you back. Maybe let's call it, a couple $100,000. But that gets you your family, gets you your dependents, it gets you potentially your.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting, but then you have to obviously invest in the economy.
Yes.
And what we're seeing is ultimately there's a few things that are going on in the market. One being that there's a lot of in principle accepted,
right.
Not a lot of capital being deployed, it seems.
Right.
And again, the natural incentive is to try and find, there's misaligned incentives, right? You've got ultimately investors that aren't really that enthused about investing in New Zealand.
Yep.
Are just doing it really because they want a visa. And so then the incentive is to, okay, well, how do I don't care about a return. I just want my money back.
Wow.
At the end.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it creates a bit of a misaligned incentive for what the policy wants, right? The New Zealand government, and the policy is we need more productivity in New Zealand desperately. But the current regime and the current players in the market and just natural circumstance and demand from the client, right, which is the high net worth. It's like probably just like, hey, just give me. I want to pay the least amount of fees possible to just retain the capital because and again, another problem is, guess what? As soon as they get the residency, where's that money going? It's leaving.
I know.
So it's difficult. It's really difficult.
It is, but when I go down, when you're in the South Island, I know when you were last there, I mean, Airburn Estate is just insane between Arrowtown and Queenstown.
Yeah.
And the growth there, investment. I mean, I was walking around Lake Hawea and Wanaka, and I picked up like 40 names of gold, of top architects and that's of course who I'm going to be contacting now, but like Mount Cardrona Estate, and those aren't locals that are buying. No,
of course not.
And so they're not investing because they're going to just they're just going to purchase a property and then they go again. Well,
no, they have to invest outside of property.
Okay.
But again, don't worry about that. Yeah, they do have.
Do they have to
invest in
not just
acceptable
property.
investments, and they're obviously trying to reduce any investment into property. Because
because
that's not actually helping the
of
problem.
course, and it's just
the
bringing up
productivity problem. It's just
price
creating
of properties.
Yeah. So they're not. So, but it's just a really interesting ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Like, what's kind of success for you with these two businesses now that you've kind of got going there? Have you got an idea or?
Yes. No, I do. So with Footprint Collective, I want to obviously grow that exponentially. But I'm doing quite a bit of work in Australia and in Austin, Texas. So that's where I want to grow those. I'm finding with New Zealand right now, I'm still trying to get into the small medium enterprise space. Corporates I have also been assisting, but invariably they will have the likes of me with them.
Yeah, right.
With the footprint distribution that I'm yet to, it is a registered company, but obviously I don't have any socials out there around that yet. That I'm looking at to be the most successful company in New Zealand and Pacific Islands. So for the outdoor tile and for distribution, absolutely.
And you're going to maybe extend beyond the tile.
Correct.
And why the name is the what it is.
Correct, yes. And actually bring on more products. So Terry Clover really asked me to look at more products, epoxy and resin and whatnot. And then also I'll look at actually selling direct, so B2C, and then e-commerce and actually storing and stocking with my own. So I'll be over time. So that's within 3 years.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So you'd like to have all those live within 3 years?
Yes, absolutely.
Pumping, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. This is cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, great to chat.
Yeah, cheers.